Okay. Hey guys, welcome back. So I'm here to do a little video about my helmet setup and basically the way I set it up for night vision. That's primarily the only reason why I'm using the helmet. And that's also one of the reasons why I decided to choose the carbon. I kind of wanted it to be lighter weight, a little bit better airflow because the carbon has holes in the top. And I mean, ballistic helmets, they're a little bit more expensive, so a little bit more money than I wanted to spend for something that's just going to support my night vision use. That being said, if you're able to spend the money on a ballistic helmet, it's not a bad way to go. But there were some features in the carbon that I wanted, and so maybe at a later time, if I feel like spending a little bit more money, maybe I'll chase the ballistic helmet. Otherwise, for now, I'm just going to be rocking an OpsCore carbon. This is the newer Fast SF style helmet. And so basically they kind of changed their sizing system a little bit. Some minor updates, not as much with the carbon as much as the ballistic. Pretty sure that the ballistic one on the new Fast SFs, which have been around for a while, they have a higher ballistic rating. They're much lighter weight than the older ballistic helmets. So realistically speaking, the weight difference isn't really that big of a deal. The main thing I wanted was, one, it is a lower entry price point, and two, the holes basically on the top of the helmet give you a little bit better ventilation, and head runs hot, so I think that's kind of a nice thing to have. Also, having something on your head that's very heavy, so when you wear the helmet, it's got a lot of weight to it, so you kind of, if I do a lot of night shooting, it kind of weighs down in your neck a lot, so you kind of definitely want to consider that. Is that like maybe incorporate neck workouts into your daily fitness routine to kind of build up neck strength, because there's a lot of strain on that. And we'll kind of go over that because the nods themselves add some weight. You also typically will counterbalance with weight on the back of the helmet. So let's actually just go right into that. So these are Actin Black DTMVGs. For bino night vision, I think this is one of the better choices. Articulation was really important to me. I know a lot of people will prefer the durability of RNVGs or some of the other night vision units that are quote unquote more durable because they don't have articulating pods. And what I mean by that is the rotation of the tubes. This is important to me because I want to be able to fold them back on the helmet. So you can see them right now, they're folded back. And so that kind of brings the weight closer to the center of the helmet. When you have night vision that is basically mounted to your helmet in the upward position, it tends to make a lot of the weight stand forward. If you have very lightweight night vision, it might not matter that much. So for example, I think ANVIS 6 and ANVIS 9s, PVS 31 alphas, they're very lightweight. So typically this might not actually be a problem. The DTMVGs are kind of in the mid-range of weight. So basically if you're using it, having it out isn't too big of a deal, but over a certain amount of time, it can cause quite a bit of strain. And so it's nice to be able to rotate them out of the way like this. The other added benefit is it lowers the profile of the helmet overall. So when you're moving in and out of tight spaces, that can definitely help a little bit if you're able to fold the night vision back like this. If you have units that are fixed, then there's just more of a protrusion, more likely to snag on stuff. If you're not getting in and out of vehicles, i.e. or shooting on like basically a flat range, might not matter to you, but for me that was kind of an important aspect of having night vision and integrating with helmet use. So basically I think if you're interested in doing stuff that requires that or want the ability, I think the articulation on the pod's pretty nice. I'm not doing anything too strenuous, so I would say I don't need to worry too much about durability, and most of the articulating pod night vision that I've seen are pretty durable if you're not trying specifically to break them. So don't drop your stuff and you'll be all right. But, you know, if you're doing something where, I don't know, if you needed to climb trees or, you know, jump out of a plane with night vision or something like that, then maybe these aren't exactly the best choice. That being said, you have to do what you got to do, so choose wisely. But that's the reason why I chose articulating pods. The cover is made by ANA Tactical, so they do like a lot of nylon stuff, and it took quite a while for me to actually get the cover. And at the time when they were making the covers, they didn't have the sizing for the new Fast SF helmets because the shape is a little bit different. So the first one they sent me was a little wonky and kind of bunched up in certain areas. This one fits really nicely, and it's pretty tight to the helmet. It's got a bunch of Velcro that integrates with the Velcro on the helmet, so it's pretty much more or less fitted to the exact shape of the helmet, which is nice. And it does provide Velcro in different areas on the helmet that you don't normally get in the factory Velcro configuration. And so I use that Velcro to attach a bunch of stuff to the helmet. So for example, one of the units that I've attached is a Hellstar 6. So this is just for identification. Typically for us, we'll turn it on if we're on like a range shooting together, everyone's in the dark. There's visible and IR modes. And so basically you can turn this on as like an identifier. So that way, you know, if we're shooting on the range, we can see each other. So like if someone calls a ceasefire and it's basically pitch black at night, we want to be able to see our buddies out there. So in case somebody didn't hear or something's going on and we've got people down range, we're able to see them with and without night vision. So there's multiple modes. I typically use it with it actually on visible, just so that in some cases, some people that are shooting with us, if they have taken their nods off or if they're shooting with white light and they might not have nods on, it's not going to help everybody if it's only an IR. So it's got a couple modes. I think this one's green and strobe, so that's the strobe, and then this one's green. So typically I run it visible. But the Hellstar 6 is awesome. There's a lot of new ones now, and there's a lot of different color combos, and it just attaches via Velcro. So you can put it anywhere you want on the helmet that has a Velcro spot to put it on. Some people will secure it additionally. There's little anchor points and stuff like that, or bungees that go over the top. But I'm not doing anything too strenuous, so the Velcro works pretty well. I'm using an Eog Counterweight. So the DTMVGs I think weigh around a pound or so. And so the reason why I like this counterweight is, one, it's very low profile. It almost doesn't look like a counterweight, and it has Velcro on the back of it. So right now I have like some morale patches and stuff on there, but basically it lets you attach other things to the Velcro on the back of it. So for example, if I were to get a battery pack for night vision later, that would be a spot that could go on, but right now I just put some patches on there. The other reason why I like it is it doesn't use lead weights. It uses powder coated steel plate. Some of them have different adjustable weight sizes. So if you have different types of night vision on the front of your helmet, depending on the weight of it, so for example, a PVS 14 single tube is going to be a lot lighter than DTMVGs. So some of them have adjustable weight settings. So you would use, let's say, one plate for a PVS 14 versus maybe 2 plates for a DTMVG. The one that I bought is a 1 pound plate, I believe. So it's deployable like this. That's why I have the pouch upside down. Normally, you'd probably mount it right side up for a more secure fit. I do it like this because I want to be able to take the plate out relatively easily, and the Velcro holds very nicely just because it doesn't have a lot of sides by side movement. But this is a powder coated steel plate, and so basically this you don't really have to worry about handling with your hands because it's not lead, and this one plate just counterweights my DTMVG night vision. And it's easily removable, so when I don't have the night vision on my helmet, if I'm just rocking the helmet by itself, without the weight here, it's very easy to remove the weight on the back just by opening the flap, taking the steel plate out, and then that way the helmet is super lightweight without either of those two items on it. So if I'm running around the carbon fiber helmet, it doesn't really affect me too much in terms of movement and head, stuff like that. So that's very handy. So that's particularly why I mount it like this. I've got OpsCore amps that are integrated into my OpsCore arc rails. So the OpsCore ecosystem is very convenient in the fact that they've kind of planned out exactly how everything integrates together. So I have the amp arms, which open up. So they call them, they like nickname them like Mickey Mouse ears when you have them open. So typically if you pop them open, because they're spring loaded, kind of looks like Mickey Mouse ears. I really like the amp arm system. It saves a lot of space on the helmet. So typically you would use the sides of the arc rail here to mount your ear pro. Because it's mounted to the rear of the arc rail, it saves a lot of space for additional accessories. So some of those things might be supporting light. They have your clip-in visor, other accessories that people make for night vision use that could go on the side of the rail because the rail is freed up from space. So these rotate into place and they're spring loaded. So when you close them, they actually provide some tension on your head. So that way, if you don't like to buckle the chin strap, because chin straps are kind of annoying and they make my face look fat. If you're feeling frisky, you can basically just pop these suckers down and the tension from the amp arms will hold the helmet to your head. Especially once again, I'm not doing a lot of strenuous activity, so for the most part, it doesn't really affect me to not wear the chin strap, and it just looks cooler. So yeah, basically I've got my carbon helmet in the urban gray color with the same color amps as well as the amp arms. The amps are awesome. They work really well. If you haven't tried one yet, the 3D hearing is amazing. It just integrates very well. Also, everything about it in terms of, like, for example, the microphone is detachable via a very smart system. It's just a screw that locks it in. Some of the attachment systems for mics on other companies' headsets, they're a little cumbersome and they're very easy to break. So basically this is an awesome system for removing the microphone when you don't want it and having it when you want it. It's just very convenient to take on and off. It's also got water resistant plugs to plug up where your down leads would go. So if I need to plug into my radio, the down lead goes into here. So everything integrates very well, which is really nice. Moving on, I have a few small accessories like, for example, the battery holders. It's not actually advised for you to have batteries on your helmet because they're exposed to, you know, rain and other environmental stuff. So that can kind of kill batteries. So I've been told this is dumb, but at the same time, sometimes I'm on the range and something happens and, you know, my light dies or something and I just want a quick swap. It's convenient to have the batteries there. But once again, if you're a serious user, you're probably not watching this video. And also, for the people who just want the convenience of it, it is very nice to just have them right there. I have 3 CR123s, one for the night vision, one for the Hellstar, and one for the light here, which I'll talk about in a second. And then I have a set of AA's here for the ear pro. So I'm more or less covered there in terms of having extra helmet mounted batteries. That being said, it's just as easy just to put some batteries in your pocket. So this is kind of unnecessary, but it looks cool and it's convenient. So I have 2 sets of lights on the helmet here, as you can see. So one of them is, let's talk about this one first. So this is a Princeton Tech Mlps task light, and basically it's a very small set of LEDs in the front here, activated by this button, and you have a few different modes. So you have one side is white and the other side is blue. They offer many different combinations, so they do like red and white, IR and red. I think pretty much any color combination you can think of, they pretty much have it for you to buy. I also really like the system because it's kind of quick disconnect. So if you wanted to take this off and put it on something else, they have like, I think 6 adapters that come with it. That makes it so you can pop it on and off very easily, change where you position the task light. It's also got a little neck so you can point it at stuff. So this is very useful for when I'm working on something directly in front of me. I can turn on the light. So right now it's like a low blue, and then you can cycle through, I think that's high blue, and then if you hold, it turns to like a kind of a brighter white color. So this is good for doing things directly in front of me. In the dark, sometimes, you know, people are shooting under night vision, you don't want to turn on a ton of lights, so it's very handy to have a little task light like this. I would say objectively I probably use this way more than I use this light. So the Sns Precision Light, well actually, sorry, let me correct that. The mount itself is made by SNS. You can either buy the mount by itself or you can buy the complete assembly, which typically comes with Surefire components. So if you look here, I have a Surefire tail cap, and then I have a Surefire vampire head. The vampire head is nice because it has 2 modes, or technically 3 if you count lockout. So one of them, which I have it on right now, is lockout, where when you push the button, nothing happens. Then you have white light and you have IR light. So if I have nods down, I'll turn IR light on. If I have nods up and I just need to like walk around or look at stuff that's further away, I will turn on the white light. So these are useful because sometimes you're walking around the range, you are maybe carrying the steel targets around or setting things up. It's just useful to have a spotlight that you can actually aim towards things. Typically, I'll just have it aimed directly forward, but it is nice to be able to point it around. The secondary feature is if you walk into a room, so inside, and you rotate the light upward, it creates an umbrella effect. The umbrella effect typically will illuminate the entire room with enough visibility for you to see everything that's going on. So that can be used tactically, it can be used utilitarian purposes. So this is a nice feature of the SNS mount where it's you can rotate the light. There are other ways to achieve the same thing because this is one of the most expensive options. So I don't necessarily recommend it for everybody unless you just have the coin, but it is very convenient. There's weapon lights, or excuse me, there's like different lights you can attach via the Velcro on the helmet where you can just rip it off and change the position of it. You can also get ones that mount into the like I think there's a Picatinny rail adapter where it lets you rotate a light into the upward position. But I think the SNS mount gives you the most flexibility because you have a little bit of turning radius here as well as rotating up. And I usually just keep it tucked. So it is also one of the most low profile options because of how tight it tucks into the helmet. So that is in itself a pretty big benefit. They only offer it in tan, but there is spray paint. So you can make it whatever color you want. I just left it in the tan color. But very nice accessory. It's very expensive for what you're getting, especially if you are pairing it with Surefire head and well, these are cheap, but overall it's still very expensive. This will also technically work, I believe, with the B.E. Meyers Kiji. So if you're just looking for an IR, essentially a focused laser beam, those are awesome. So you can also use that. And then finally, I guess I didn't really talk about the Wilcox G24 Mount. This is probably the most popular night vision mount that people use nowadays. It's very convenient. It's very adjustable. This one's kind of one of the older ones. That's why it has sort of like a silvery look. But it's really nice. You know, basically you just have this big button you push in and it rotates up, and then you push that same button, rotates down. If you squeeze this, it moves forward and back. So if you need to bump it away for gas mask usage or bring it closer to your eyes, it's fully adjustable like this. You can also adjust the tilt. So there's a lot of different adjustments that you can make to get it right in front of your eyes, which is nice. The new helmets have the bungee cords built into the shrouds a little bit closer. So instead of running it out of the arc rail, basically the bungees are built into the shroud here, and then I just have it latched together with an arcane concerted band. These are actually really handy. I use them for all kinds of stuff. But that way, if the mount breaks away or the nods fall off, they'll be retained by a bungee. I'm sure there's plenty of other ways to do this that are way more secure than how I've done it, but once again, I pretty much just shoot night vision for leisure and sport, so it's really not that big of a deal. I also have a replacement battery cap holder for the DTMBGs. Spectre Mods made this for me, so he does like all the holster wrapping and stuff like that. So he gave me a couple different ones. I think this is the Miami Tiger one, pretty dope. Very, I mean, it's very silly, I think, but it's also kind of fun. But once again, I'm just doing this for sport. I'm not actually doing it for a profession or anything like that. So having this kind of stuff makes me happy, I suppose. So yeah, Spectre Mods. He's an awesome guy. You should check out his stuff on Instagram, and yeah, get your holster wrapped by him. So yeah, basically that's pretty much my setup for helmet usage. I don't have everything with me today, like obviously the down leads and all that stuff into the kit, and then I also do have an OpsCore solder which clips into the helmet here, which is cool. I just didn't bring it out for show and tell for this video, but this video is more just focusing on the actual helmet and the accessories. But yeah, why OpsCore? I feel like they're kind of a little bit like the Glock of the helmet world, in the sense that, you know, they make a ton of accessories for it. It's very easy to find aftermarket stuff, like the arc rail, even though it's not Picatinny, it's like very standardized in the sense of using helmet accessories. So when you're looking for that stuff, it's pretty nice. I would like to change the padding on the inside of the helmet. Right now I'm just using the factory pads, and they come with a bunch of different sized thickness pads. So you can change the thickness from like 1/4 to 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch pads. But yeah, I think there's other solutions that are aftermarket that you can stick in there, like for example, the 4D pads. Supposedly those are really nice. I heard you can technically just cut up pieces of Tempur-Pedic and just stick them in the helmet. A little bit ghetto, but I think it kind of works really similarly to the 4D pads. So you can kind of experiment with that, but I'm pretty happy with the way the helmet is set up so far. So yeah, if you have any questions about the helmet or how I set my stuff up, feel free to ask me in the comments section below. Also, you can also talk to us on Discord if you're interested in talking about this kind of stuff. There should be a link on our main YouTube page as well as on Instagram. I also post a ton of stuff on Instagram, so you should definitely check us out there. We have some new stickers and that kind of stuff coming out soon. Just to give you a little preview, not sure if you can see this, but the new sticker is almost ready to go. So I'm pretty excited about that. And here's our logo sticker that's coming out soon. So I'm actually really happy the way they turned these out. I originally designed them to work on Glock magazines. So yeah, they look pretty nice. And so yeah, once again, if you have any questions or anything, just let me know. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the video of the overview of how I set up my helmet for night vision use. And once again, you can always ask me if you have any questions or anything. But thanks for watching the video, and hopefully we will see you next time.